We'll just wait for the link to occur. Pretty fucking crunked right now. Anyway, let's get this started. There we go. Welcome to another exciting episode of Utopia News. We're talking about Age 99 proposed changes. This is a WIN special feature. So, Age 99 proposed changes. We've got our special guests, Benji, as well as Schrodes. Some of the Age Changes Council involved in the changes for this age. I'm just going to post it. You won't see the link, but you're going to see the revised changes on the screen here if you're watching the YouTube channel. But we're just going to go through it as we normally do. But I'll let Benji have the floor.
Oh, look, I won't do too much talking here because this is really Schrodes changes. But, I mean, look, this is the first time Schrodes has had a chance to do changes. He's been on council for a few ages now. My one goal was wanting to get ahead of schedule this round so that we get as much feedback as we can. And I wanted to get a few mentor changes in, whether those will actually make it to final changes, we'll see. You good?
Yeah, go ahead, Schrodes.
Yep. Alright.
Yeah, so go ahead. You can finish up, Benji.
I was just going to say, essentially, that's the main thing for me was mentorship, looking at end-of-war mechanics. And I was the same. Schrodes wanted to make the changes really exciting. His goals originally were to, powerful but powerful everything, and try and put a few new different things into it, without, breaking our coding, as we've learnt, and putting too much coding elements into the game. But yeah, look, I'll let Schrodes have his chat about it, because really he's been the one leading the changes today. I've just been assisting him in the background.
So, my name is Schrodes. I've been playing off and on since age 2. I enjoy math and spreadsheets and all that stuff, so I'm a bit of a nerd. I've wanted to do changes for a while. Kind of took some time before I had an opportunity. So my goal really for the changes is to give people more choices, because people like choices, and I want everything to feel powerful because people enjoy the game more when they actually are playing something that they enjoy. Those were the two main goals with these changes. Hopefully we'll accomplish that. So I am the lead, quote unquote, but the Changes Council is extremely helpful. And I want to give a shout out to Benji too. He's been my right-hand man here, kind of reining me in when I get a little out of control, so I appreciate that. So we can start going down the list, Wind, if you want to start with that.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Before we get started in the actual changes, there's just some things I wanted to mention with regards to some comments that have been noticed in the Utopia Discord with regards to whether or not the changes from previous ages have been implemented. And everyone should be assured that everything that was posted in the changes is implemented, whether or not it's functioning as intended or not. Whatever you want to call it, a bug or not, it's still as intended. Everything's there. It's been coded. There's nothing that's actually been missed. And if there is something, then we invite you to bring it to David C's attention, and he'll be sure to take care of that. So make sure you do that. I just wanted to assure everyone, of course, that the Age 99 changes will be implemented. David C's made sure that he's promised that. And actually, there's a special announcement coming up in the within the week with regards to 3 new people who are going to have access to the source code as well as the server in order to maintain continuity on the system with regards to Genesis as well as World of Legends. So that's definitely good news. That means more than just David C has access to the system. It'll make it a lot easier to get things going as well as make changes. And again, it'll ensure that continuity, and hopefully, again, we're aiming for that 100% Genesis uptime. So that's just some of the special announcements. But again, Muga is going to take care of that announcement and actually say who these people are. So be sure to keep your eyes on the announcements. There's lots of changes coming. I mean, we're looking at some big stuff officially coming age 100. We're only age 99 right now, but without taking too much of age 99's thunder away, I'll let Schrodes take the floor now, and we can start talking about this awesome stuff. And again, keep an eye on those announcements, and be sure to subscribe if you have a server.
Okay, it's good to know. Actually, I didn't know all of that. I have talked to David a little bit about the changes, so everything that's in the revised changes we're about to talk about has been approved, except for some of the mentor changes. He's still seeing if he's able to get that done for this age. So everything else, including some of the building quirks that I've got in there, he can do. It's been signed off of. So.
Also, I just
All
wanted
right.
to as well point out that there is a new team of community ambassadors as well that will be focusing on all social media and especially the Discord to update David on what's going on a regular basis, so we can make sure things happen. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So go ahead. I mean,
Okay.
age 99 revised changes, that's a huge upgrade from proposed changes as the post was initially slated for, but everyone should be happy that we're pushing ahead so quickly so they can prepare their kingdoms accordingly.
Well, I had said to Schrodes and to the council early on, I just didn't want to be in a scenario where we were leaving things to the last moment, and then not giving people enough prep time. I think there is a nice balance, though. You don't want to give too much prep time, because obviously the more prep time you give people, fine-tune things to perfection. But I felt like this was enough time that, we were giving people the opportunity to give us feedback, because we have actually changed a lot of things based off feedback. But yeah, that was one of the intentions of trying to keep to the schedule.
Yeah, I'd like to try to give people a little extra excitement towards the end of the age when things are winding down. Some people might be getting a little bored. Try to keep it interesting for the next stage. So, Wynn, do you want to read the changes off, and then Benji and I can discuss them?
Yeah, so we're looking at the age 99 revised changes, as I mentioned already. Some of the mechanics changes we're looking at are ambush attack inflicts 15% increased kills. Peasants killed on massacre reduced by 30%. That is no change to wizards/thieves. Players can cancel their mentor. Players can set 2 mentors. Mentors can be twice daily. That's pretty sweet. I'm all about that. Training grounds changed to 1.75%. Increase the OME from 1.5%. No change to merc costs. And of course, there's some end of war mechanics changes as well, such as kingdoms can choose between acres or honor as war bonus, which is awesome. We all know that feature is already existing within the game, just unused to some extent. No war win points awarded for wars outside of war range. The losing kingdom now receives science books bonus equal to 36 ticks of production, with a little 1 beside that actually. So we'd have to read a little bit further down to see what that's all about.
Yeah, all that is that's just a note that that's half of what the winning kingdom receives. So this is very much a question mark whether it will actually get done. I've thrown it in here recently mainly for discussion purposes. We'll see what people think about it. It's not a guarantee it's going to make it into the finals, but we would like to incentivize people actually, clicking a war instead of forced ceasefire. So that's the idea behind it. We'll debate whether that's actually effective or not. Benji, you want to talk about the mentor changes and the kingdoms can choose between acres or honor?
Yeah, look, maybe we just quickly go through the other things in terms of the thinking with the ambush also, because I think that's a bit of a change. We talked about ambush a bit. We as council members just felt that currently in the game, ambush isn't exactly something that you go, oh crap, I will use that because it's, really high value. It's not being accessed as much as we would like it to be used. So the kills is just a subtle change that we think will hopefully see more use of it. obviously open to more feedback on that. I think we're probably likely to keep it as is, and just see how it goes. In terms of the peasants' kills on massacres reducing, um, I think we're just trying to wind back the peon damage in mass, to be honest with you. The council has a view at the moment that it is just probably a little bit too much. We did, I don't know if you all remember, but we did amp it up a few ages back, quite a bit. And from a depop mechanic perspective, it was probably just tilting a little bit too much strongly than what we thought it was going to. So it's just a wind back slightly. It just basically means, from obviously a comp perspective, that mana is going to be more important now, from a depop side of things. So we'll see how it plays out, but that changes something that was the thinking behind that one. The mental one, you would have seen me had a rant about this a few weeks ago in the age discussion. It's just providing players and leaders more capacity in the mentorship space, to be able to, you know, if somebody has something come up in real life, that we can not have to be precious about, oh, they can only jump on them once. You know, we've got to be very hand choosy about, you know, what that looks like. Whereas, you know, if somebody has to go pick up the kids, or, you know, they have things come up in their life, and they can't make it to their army return, but their mentor can step in for them, that we're able to provide that quality of life feature for people. I think it's just where I'm going with the mindset that we do actually have a much more matured player base overall. And so we need to be cognizant of that. The expectation of people to be available 24/7 is probably not going to be something that we should be steering towards, especially with such a small player base. My other second thinking to that was, I'm trying to provide the capacity so that if we want to refer people to this game, right, and be able to teach people, you know, I had a new recruit this year, this age, that had never played the game, but because we were able to provide a lot of assistance to him in our leadership, you know, he's turned out to be a great player, but he has a lot of things going on in his real life, and the mentorship would definitely help, in terms of being able to give that person the capacity but still able to enjoy the game. And so when I'm thinking about referring people to this game myself personally, I want to be able to give them that opportunity where they can get that guidance and not have to stress if they can't jump on. So that was kind of my thinking in terms of that side of things. With the choosing between the Acre and Honor and War Bonus, I've had this mixed things from different people. Whether it'll work or not, I don't know. I've had some people say to me it'll separate things, it'll make growth really strong, they'll be defined, and then Warring and Honor will be defined, you won't get your quad crowns. I mean, quad crown was already hard to get, like, so, you know, I'm not really basing it off that. I mean, my personal view is that if, you know, Warring and Honor is its own, you know, segment, and people are having a really good fun time in that, and there are growth KDs, you know, having their own fun, and they're not, you know, getting in the way of each other, we'll see how it plays. You know, I don't see that necessarily as a bad thing. I know that, you know, there are lots of people that I've spoken to that don't like the game going down a, like, you know, a gating of Warring being the only function of the game. So, you know, if this mechanic separates that in a positive way, I don't see that necessarily as a bad thing, but we've got to test it out to see how it goes. If it goes to shit and it doesn't work, we'll just revert it back next stage. And then that's kind of my ones. I think the other ones in terms of the training grounds, the war win points, and the science. Yeah, they're all yours.
Yeah, so I felt like Thief Mage got hit a little too hard in terms of defense this past age, but were too strong the age before that. So I'm trying to find a middle ground in between those two. So all the Thief Mage races have received an increase to their defense. So we're trying to find the right offset on offense. We may still be looking for that, but we think training grounds is part of the solution there.
Do you want to run and pass your thinking in terms of the support spell stuff, Rose? Because you did quite a lot of that.
Yeah. There's no changes from the proposed that was released, but I did take off a number of spells there. Illuminate Shadows, Divine Shield, Salvation, and Town Watch are all off the support list. I wanted to make some of those racials. It felt like, you know, if everyone's got it, then no one really has it. So I wanted to make it to where people could actually benefit from it. And really, I think it was hurting some less organized kingdoms that weren't able to actually get it. So this, I think, evens the playing field a little bit. Town Watch is really one that's tricky for me. It's so effective at mitigating chains. I felt like, and I think the council feels like, making chains a little bit stronger was important. So that'll help accomplish that goal.
I actually think that was a good change, the TW, personally.
I hope they're all good changes.
I think the
So,
support stuff will definitely be a bit of an adjustment in terms
Yeah.
like how you've kind of moved things around. But I think it's a nice thing. I think it's, you know, nice to shake up things a little bit better, to be honest with you. I mean, it's made me
Yeah.
really have to rethink my approach to support for next stage.
Yeah, Mystic Vortex was someone else's suggestion. He knows who he is, so thank you for your contributions as well. I don't know if you want your name mentioned, so I'll just leave it at that. But the idea there is to make it a little easier to do on your Kingdom Mates because support spells are easier than regular casting, and it's also 2% mana instead of 3. So it allows a little more counterplay there against Mystics. So that's the idea behind that one.
Kind of rewards you if you're on it, and you can MB
Yes.
the team.
Yes.
Like, you know, it's a good thing. If you're not on it, it doesn't really, yeah.
Yep.
Mind focus. What was your thinking there?
Well, it was nerfed just a couple ages ago from 50% to 25%. I didn't like that. Uh, I understand if you want to put it on a Mystic, then 50% would be too much. I would like to make hybrids have more choices. It seems like every age is pretty much only one real attacker mage option and one real thief mage option. So hopefully this will allow for more options in terms of hybrid. So I want to increase the power to make that a possibility. Yeah, and moving on to meteor showers, that was something I saw a lot of feedback on uh, in the Muga channel there. So
Just gives
we're making it hostile and war instead of just war.
you now have the ability back, you know, if somebody waves you, you know, and you want to throw MSs on everybody, you know, before you start hitting in, that's your decision. I mean, SAP's FFW said it pretty well. You know, at the end of the day, it's not going to really do anything in the sense of, you know, help you. You know, the opposing KD, if you don't want to war them and you throw a whole bunch of MS on them, you can guarantee they're going to do a double wave on you. If they can have that capacity. So, but look, it's there. Whatever. It's a bit of a, you know, irrelevant change, but you know, the people wanted it. We put it in.
Yeah. All right, so we can move on to races.
Exciting bit. You want to scroll down, Wind?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me take care of that for you, Benji. Oh yeah, we got Avian. So Avian's bonuses are minus 30% attack time, plus 20% birth rate, as well as minus 50% land losses when attacked with ambush, which is something we've seen with Avian several times before in the past. Again, they have fanaticism and greater protection as their special spells book, which again is also something very common we've seen with them in the past. No access to stables and horses, again, something they've always suffered from as their penalty, which is really not too bad as a penalty. I mean, no one can complain about that. That's a pretty standard thing. Soldiers 3 and 3, offensive 11 and 0.
They're just speedsters. Like we've tried.
Yeah, and pretty good elites. I mean, offensive.
I think we tried to go in with the goal of, don't you think, Schrodes, that I think what we'll find, Wind, as we go through the races, if we look at the overall thinking there, we've just tried to really give each race kind of, not so much like, I would say, a defined role, because I don't think we've gone with that intention, but we've just tried to strengthen them to give them by like, hey, like I really want to play them because they've got these things and no one else has got these things, and I think I can pair them really well with something else, rather than they're all the same vanilla thing. I think you will find each of the races have enough definition behind them, but they can still be utilized kind of in their own way. Would you think, Schrodes?
Absolutely, yeah. A distinct flavor is
Yeah.
what I think the goal is. I think we've accomplished that.
I would
Hopefully
agree.
people feel the same way, but we'll see as we go here.
All right, so
Definitely, Avian's got that attack time. I mean, if that's what you like doing, then this is it for you. You can't ask for much more.
yeah,
And just because I know that you're putting this on YouTube, Wind, and we're at revised and final now, if anyone's watching this later and you're looking at these changes, from revised to final from us, what we're wanting to hear from you is, is there anything that we're really missing that's, that's a major concern for you, that needs to be fixed, or something that's, really we should be trying to get in for this next round. You need to post it in the age chat for us. Tag the council so that we can see it, because if we don't hear about it, like it's obviously good to get DMs from people on side that things, but it's much better if you just put it in the group for discussion, tag it. One council member might give you their view, but if you tag it, all of the council will see it.
yeah. Thank you for that, Benji. And again, we're all trying to make Utopia a better place. So let's look at Dark Elf now. Bonuses: minus 40% spell rune cost excluding ritual, plus 25% training ground effectiveness. Their spells include Mind Focus, Sloth, and Wrathful Smite. A penalty they have is a plus 20% thief cost, which is not really an issue. Now, their
Schrodes
soldiers...
has had a lot of effort into Dark Elf, so he can give his view on that one.
Yeah, so Dark Elf for me is kind of an attacker mage by default, but you can play it in so many different ways because you got Mind Focus. So if you want to play it as an attacker mage with more of an attacker personality, you can do that. If you want to play it more as a thief mage or a mage, you can do that. So it's got a mix of bonuses to facilitate that. It's got a stronger elite than in the past. And we felt like it wasn't quite strong enough in the proposed changes, so it did get a slight buff here, an extra 7% on the spell rune cost and an extra 5% on the TG bonus.
I actually think Dark Elf is quite playable next age, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Better than it probably has in a few ages.
It's definitely playable. It's
if somebody wanted to run like a hybrid comp, that would be the next age of Dark Elf.
Yeah, it's not going to be the strongest pure attacker, but that's not what it's designed to be. There's other stuff if you want the strongest pure attacker. It's got a role. It's got options and flexibility. So hopefully people can take advantage of that.
Absolutely, Dark Elf has always been great like that. Moving on to Dwarf, bonuses include a plus
Avians
20.
are just, we didn't talk about it much, but they're pretty much just our speedsters. Nothing's really changed. Just fine tuning.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like our stereotypical avian. Now, with regards to Dwarf, their bonuses include a 25%
Dwarf, on the other
building
hand,
efficiency,
we've done some things.
and their minus 20%, minus 50% construction and raise cost decrease. Spells include minus Mystique, which is an awesome spell, Illuminate Shadows, and Mist. Oh, they get all the great stuff, and their typical penalty of food consumption is back. However, it's only 50% increased food consumption. Elites are actually pretty strong too, with a 13 and 6.
Look, Schrodes and I, he will say to you, we have constantly debated on Dwarf. So I think that from my perspective, anyone that says to me that Dwarf's not in a good place doesn't know how to play Dwarf. And I think Schrodes has given it even more oomph than it probably had this age. Yeah.
Yeah, it's It's one that I think we're still mulling about a little bit. It it feels a little less changed than some of the others in terms of its core. I mean, the bonuses are the same as this age. Miner's Mystique and Mist returns. You do get Illuminate Shadows, and you get an extra offensive point on the Elite, but you lose a point on the defensive side. Uh, the big change for me is really the Elite net worth. Right now, I've got it at 5.25. It's typically one of the highest elites. I think this makes it a little more viable as an attacker. It's got better net worth efficiency than it has in the past. Uh, so it's still got that tanky role. It's still got a lot of flexibility because building efficiency translates well into everything. Uh, and it's good. It's what you make of it though.
I think we'll.
It's not going to be quite as easy
see
to play
quite a
as some
few
of the others,
dwarf
maybe.
tax
But...
next age, Schrodes. I think we'll see a lot of dwarf tax.
Yeah.
And I will see those comps, and I will force ceasefire you because I do not want to spend fucking 2 weeks warring that shit.
Doesn't
I think it's
everybody
in a
like
good.
long wars?
Yeah, I think it. Look, I think it's okay now. I think it's fine. I think it's good. I actually think it's a really playable race. I think dwarf. You need to know what you're doing with min-maxing of builds, which is kind of the appeal to dwarf from a numbers perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, if you
dwarf
know what
is
you're
always
doing with
great.
this, it can be extremely good.
I've always loved dwarf.
I mean, I think I had one of my dwarfs now, end of age. I think they're about 180 BE. So yeah, dwarfs can be strong.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. You can't ever discount the dwarf. Now let's move on to the dryads. Their bonuses include each acre generates 3 bushels of food and 0.6 runes per tick. Immune to the plague. Training time is reduced by 12.5%. Their special spells include Mist and Town Watch. Penalty is cannot use barracks. They do have a 17 and 3 elite though. I mean, that doesn't really need to be that fast.
Let me jump in there and apologize. Immune to the plague should not be on there. That's a typo.
Oh,
so
no.
let me delete that.
Dun,
That is definitely a typo.
My apologies. It is now gone.
Oh no! What the fuck is
And
this
like
dryad
that,
thing?
Dryad
Who
got
learns?
Mystic Vortex. Its new support spell. Plague gone.
Oh man, I'm sure Smiles could do an entire video on this one thing alone.
Oh
Look,
yes.
with
He'll
Dryad,
rant.
Dryad's been talked about a bit in council, and I mean, I'm sure Schrodes has had lots of feedback from him, and I've had lots of feedback from Dryad also. Like, they're a really good attacker. They've got Mist, they've got Town Watch. You know, I think the important thing to call out here, as Schrodes, and you can please comment on this too. Town Watch, you know, not a support spell anymore.
Exactly.
Is this the only one that has it? Yeah. I think it's the only race that has it. So, like, you're talking about something that's got, you know, 19-3 mounted without modifiers behind it, and they can produce food and runes themselves, so you can cut down, obviously, your towers and your guild, your food. Like, it's a good attacker there, a really good anti-chain attacker, and I think that was kind of the intention that Schrodes was when he was bringing Dryad back, was just to make a really solid anti-chain attacker. I think. So,
Yeah.
and if I think that was your intention, you've achieved it.
Yeah, it's it doesn't have a lot of bonuses in terms of the thief mage department. The design was, let's make something that's very strong at attacking. Its main bonus is its military units. So you don't see as many bonuses on it as some of the other races have, because it's just pure power is its biggest bonus. So the bonuses it does have are kind of smaller, complementary bonuses. But yeah, look at the spells. Mist and Town Watch can both be very effective, especially Town Watch now that it's not a support spell. You're the only one that has it.
Yeah, the only one that has it in the game.
Yeah. You got the highest offense. Play as the chain bait.
Yeah, and I mean, this is something we've also seen from Dryad before. I mean, this is a kind of typical Dryad setup. we got going on here?
Wind knows. I've seen Dryad before when it's really strong in numbers.
Yeah.
It's not to be trifled with.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Let's move on to Elf. The bonuses include, in addition to its normal effects, each guild generates 6 runes. That's also nice. It's got level 2 beside it, though. There's spell duration is plus 20%. Oh, that's a nice thing to have. Spells include Mage's Fury, Illuminate Shadows, Magic Ward, Blizzard, and Greater Protection. Their elites are 12 and 5, and they also get their defensive specialist of a 0 and 12. This is something we've seen from Elf before as well. But, you know, one thing I'd like to say so far is that it seems like everything is, you know, a little bit super buffed as it is, you know, as it could possibly be, without making it too unbalanced in one direction or the other.
Yeah.
Penalties for Elf include no access to dungeons plus 20% explore cost. What are those anyway? Those aren't even penalties. Anyway, I'll let you guys talk more about that.
The more I look at Elf, the more I go to Schrodes in my mind. Maybe we might need to go revisit Elf again. But I think Elf is definitely an attractive race currently right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so just touching on that question about the guilds generating runes, someone asked what Mystic would do to that. Mystic, with a guild bonus, would only affect wizard generation. It would not change the rune generation, so you wouldn't get 12 runes if you went Mystic. The rune generation would be affected by science. We're undetermined yet as to whether BE would affect that. I'm not sure how the coding would go with that, since guilds aren't usually affected by BE. So that's an open question that we're still trying to figure out. But I think this is a very solid mage.
100%.
Yeah, you get an easy route to defense with the defensive specialist being at 12 strength. I mean, yeah, plenty of spells. Yeah, I don't know what else you're really asking for there. It's got
And-
the ability to attack if you want to go hybrid.
I think Wynn's telling us we need to put more penalties on them.
No, I'm
Yeah,
not
they're-
necessarily saying that. I mean, I'm enjoying the revised.
Yeah, so you mentioned the power level of things. That was a goal of mine, is to make everything feel powerful, because people enjoy the game more when they play, and we've got a shrinking player base. I'm trying to at least do my part to reverse that by making things interesting. If people feel like they can have a lot of fun with it, instead of quitting next round, maybe they'll keep playing, or maybe they'll come back.
What about
That's the goal
to
behind
Schrodes
making it
every
powerful.
time we do something, I say, make it fun, make it powerful, but let's not break the game through the process. And as long as we do that, then that's okay.
Yeah, so I know everyone's clamoring for final changes, and I had hoped to actually have them done by now and sent over to David. But because we're making things more powerful, it takes extra time to balance it out. So hopefully we'll have those done in a few days. We'll see. I can't make any promises on a timeline, but we
done pretty good,
are making
though.
a concerted effort to actually get it done on a decent timeline this age.
I mean, I don't see. I mean, Schrodes will tell you more than me, but I don't see us changing anything massively from where we are now on revised. Hopefully, I put that with 3 asterisks.
I would agree.
Yeah.
So
I think from here on, it's just balancing. I think the feel for each race is locked in.
Yeah.
100%. That's good to hear. Now, just a little note here. I've just scrolled down to the spot where you can see what that little 2 means. Now, Mystic would not make Elf generate 12 time by runes. It would only increase the wizard output. So that's just a note to everyone out there. Now, Fairy, on the other hand, has some very nice bonuses, plus 15% WPA and 10% TPA. Again, further solidifying its position as a mage thief. It comes with ghost workers, allowing you to have more wizards and thieves at the end of the ages, as well as throughout that, and amnesia, chastity, and gluttony. So they can really do some damage with their setup there. Penalty: homes house 5 less population. I mean, That's way better than a population debuff of like -10% or something like that. I mean, 5 less population, though, when you think about it. Um, how much does that equate to, percentage wise, to everybody else here? I'll have to actually open up the wiki to check. Who actually counts homes?
It really just depends on how many homes you typically run.
It just means that you know that default like TM side of things, what you would do as the age gets on, you'd be like, okay, run 20% homes, you know, as a default type thing to pump yourself further. You may not want to necessarily do that all the time on Ferry. You might want to actually run libs as the age goes on. I mean, Ferry's the usual thing. If you want to be a static and hopefully achieve, you know, UB status, you know, by mid to late age, they can do it if you can get them there. And is it going to be an easy route with the way the attackers are next age? Probably not. But, you know, there's the opportunity to do it with this race. They've got a really solid spell toolkit there. In terms of what we're looking for, we've tried to keep the bonuses pretty, like they're not obviously exciting 15 WPA, 10 TPA, but they are solid. I mean, it's not really like there's not much more to say. It's Fairy. Do you know what I mean? Would you agree, Schrodes?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's not much we can really.
Yeah.
It's a static TM.
Exactly.
If you want to play it something else and go like a warrior, power to you. I've seen people do shit like that before, but you know that's kind of the intention behind it.
So for everyone out
Couldn't say
there,
it better.
that basically equates on the Ferry side, having that penalty to about a 15% decrease in the total population that the house can hold. So if, it doesn't limit you just for being Ferry. It just limits you when you put the homes on. So rather than having that minus like 10% population that you could potentially have, it doesn't affect you in that way. So this is a very light penalty compared to what Ferry is used to seeing.
Actually, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think you could actually play Fairy a lot easier than some of the penalties that we've had in previous ages with Fairy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
An easier penalty to mitigate as opposed to other ages. That's for sure.
I think so far what I'm seeing, stuff that I definitely like, and I think everyone should kind of transition to playing more of the races rather than just focusing on certain ones, kind of like we've seen Orc Shepherds during age 98 that we're currently still seeing right now.
oh fuck me, I never want to say Shepherd again. Sorry, excuse my French.
Well, if we have a wide variety of races and personalities next stage, then I'll know that we've succeeded.
All right, that means we're getting somewhere. Now the Ferry's troops. Let's take a look at that. Offensive specialist 9-0. Doesn't seem like they're really meant for attacking, but of course they've got their 5 and 13 elite unit. That's pretty sweet. Gnomes, of course, we gotta love our gnomes. Their bonuses included
Scroll down.
a 10% population.
Scroll down.
Yeah, let me take a look at actually where we're at right now, because I'm just taking a
I've
look
got
at
I've got YouTube in front of me.
Yeah, I'm
Yep,
taking
same.
a look at it right now.
You're good right there.
All right, sweet. Yeah, so we got our gnomes bonuses at plus 10% population, plus 25% credits gained in combat. Can use specialist credits to train thieves. All right. Minus 20% damage taken from massacre attacks. That's pretty awesome considering they got that population buff. That more than makes up for it. Quick feet, always nice to have. War spoils, that's great to have. For obvious reasons. I mean, we don't have to touch on that right now. Penalty none. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, Smiles, that's a hint to you. I think we're going to see some kind of gnome fairy kingdom from Smiles this age, one or the other, or a combination of both. Smiles, you may as well do it. Do a little shorty kingdom. The elite unit is 11 and 3. Wow. I want to see some gnome attackers this age. Definitely want to see some gnome attackers this age.
Yeah, so Gnome is one that is still probably one of the more debated races. I wanted to bring it back this age to give people extra choices. It's tough finding the right balance without being halfling. So hopefully we've got a very good distinction between the two. Gnome
I actually think that they're really strong. Like, I
Yeah,
think
they
like
probably
you've
are
got,
too strong at this point.
and I think certain players and individuals are looking at this are probably rolling their face across the keyboard to play these guys. But I don't want us to lose sight of that. With I'm going off the goals of when Schrodes came to do these changes. If we go out with the mindset of you want to play every race, and we've achieved it. Slight concern that No Mate is very strong from an 8T perspective, but we really wanted to, wouldn't you agree, Schrodes? We wanted an AT that was
Yes.
actually viable.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've had to really think about how we do that and think about mechanically what are the problems that an AT can run into when they're playing that role and sets them back, but without breaking them too strong. I do think we might have to revisit it as I look at it because I'm just sitting there going, that's really strong. But we won't, if we do whatever balance we do, it's still going to be in a way that is very attractive. I would agree. Would you think, Schroes?
Absolutely, yeah. It is strong. That's still something we're talking about, how to make it where it's an attractive option, especially as an attacker thief, and people aren't just ignoring it in favor of maybe an avian or an undead as going rogue there. So it's tough to find balance between those and also between halfling as a thief. It's been more of a challenge actually than I thought it would be. It's probably the most difficult
I reckon it's the
race
hardest race for us to balance
that I've had. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, we
Everyone
saw what happened, and you just kind of mentioned it briefly, Wind, where we put the 15% pop on Gnome one age, and again we saw what that result was. So we just got to be a bit careful.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Looking at halfling, bonuses include homes house an extra 8 population, so that's 43 from 35. Now that's a nice little increase right there. And the other ones include the minus 50% thief cost, also very nice to have. Thieves normally cost 500 GC, so that's 250 GC. That's less than specs, or about the same as specs, I guess. They also get plus 35% cunning, science, efficiency. Spells include Divine Shield, Chastity, and Invisibility. So they're still a valuable asset to have for sure. And they can hold their own for sure. Having that Divine Shield is nice as a halfling, especially since you're playing a rogue personality. Usually, cannot use hospitals, which means that you're not looking to necessarily attack with this one, or if you are, you're you're running a special build.
Our intent behind Gnome was the AT, and our Halfer was kind of static, was what we were kind of going behind, weren't we, Schrodes?
100%.
I think one of our biggest struggles from a revised to final and from proposed to revised have been rogue and race balance, because we're trying to get in a place where it's competitive but not destroying mages, but at the same time mages not destroying rogues. It's a very difficult balance, so we're still kind of working on in that space. But I think that what Schrodes has done in terms of what we've created with Gnome and Halfer right now, I think they're very, very playable as rogue races, in my opinion.
Yeah. And one of the distinctions between Gnome and Halfling is that Thief Mage, or the Mage defense with Divine Shield. Gnome doesn't have any way to mitigate incoming damage like Halfling does. And it's not a support spell anymore, so Gnome can't get it from someone else. So only Halfling has that right now. Except for Paladins. We'll get to that later.
All right, Paladins. Let's some hints of what's to come.
Human.
Let's move on to human. Dun dun dun. Humans get their bonus of plus 10% income and plus 15% combat, that is resource gains. Their spells include Fountain of Knowledge and Salvation. Penalty is plus 1 self-spell mana. So this race would not make a good, support caster. Let's just say that. That's really all I'm going to say about human. But this is kind of some basic stuff that human sees here as well. Although, when you're looking at that combat, that is resource gains, that doesn't apply to every attack that you're making, right? So keep that in mind. Their elites are 13 and 4. Otherwise, their specialists are the same. They do get a warhorse, though, of 3 and 0 as well. So that's a 16 and 4 mounted elite.
I'm fully expecting to see a crap ton of human raiders. But, I think that's a good thing. I think we did something different with human. Like, we really changed kind of what the usual bonuses were like, wouldn't you agree, Schrodes? So it's a bit of a different flavor. I think they're good. I mean, like, do I think that they're vanilla? Yes, but that's always how human has been. I think it's kind of like one of those races, mold it how you want to be, type of thing, personally.
Yeah, with Fountain of Knowledge, I think you can really do that with the extra science and Salvation. That is again unique to human. No other race has that, so that is a hidden bonus that is easy to overlook. The other thing that I think a lot of people are overlooking here is the net worth on the elite. It is, I think, the lowest of all the elites. That is a hidden bonus. It gives you extra net worth efficiency that other races don't have. So, yes, it is a little more vanilla, I guess, than some of the other races. But I think it's very strong the way we have it right now.
There's nothing wrong with vanilla bean ice cream if it's done well.
Yeah, so just looking again at the GC value with regards to human, it is one of the highest elite costs. The only one really that comes close to that is Dryad with 2250. Dwarf is pretty high up there as well, but human definitely has one of the higher costs where, Gnome, for instance, is about half of that at 1100. So, something to keep in mind, as you said as well, human having a 2100 GC cost, but obviously Dryads are a little bit more powerful. So the cost is there for sure.
Yep. The elite cost is something I'm still looking at.
Probably gonna have to work on that. I'm just looking at
They're not finalized. That's one of the few things we haven't discussed all that much yet. So I wouldn't put your faith in any of those sticking for finals.
I think elite costs will be the one thing we'll have to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, some important things to note for sure. Let's move on to Orc. Bonuses include a bonus, 50% bonus from Honor, Honor bonus.
Wins favorite race.
Yeah, for sure. 15% enemy military casualties, and a minus 50% draft cost. Wow, you couldn't have made Orc any better. They get Bloodlust and Wrathful Smite, two of an attacker's favorite spells. Minus 10% science effectiveness. I mean, ouch, that hurts. That's like an actual penalty still for that late age Orc. But I mean, they're still pretty powerful with their 16 and 3 elite that only cost 1700 GC.
Come on, Wind. I know you're looking at that Orc right now going, fuck, that looks good.
The question, we haven't seen the personalities yet, so I mean, that's the final determining factor here.
I mean, we've talked about Orc, Schrodes and I, a bit in Council. There's a lot of mixed views. I think Orc is really strong right now. This is the first time, I think, in a while, I think, Schrodes, that we've actually put bonus honor on Orc.
Yes.
So partly that gives me a bit of anxiety from a balancing perspective.
Yeah, Orc doesn't typically get something like that.
I think if we were to do anything, Schrodes will comment here, but I think Orc is good. I don't think we will change anything conceptually about it. I think we may balance slightly. Would you agree, Schrodes? I don't know, but I think overall it's in a good place.
Yeah. So one note that's different from the proposed. It's 14-3 defense on Orcs. It's got a lot of tools. When did you go offline on the live stream, or is that just my computer?
I think there was like
I just froze for a second. It's
yeah,
going
there
now.
was definitely something going on with the broadcasting software, but it should be live now. Sometimes it does
Look,
this.
if you want to smash
Oh, right
stuff,
now it's coming back. Okay.
and you want a race that can smash and kill, well, auction race. So yeah, but they're
Yeah,
dumb.
no,
That's why
absolutely,
we give it the answer.
absolutely. And looking at you'd have to go to the wiki for this, but looking at the honor bonuses in themselves, several people have said in the past, why don't we just change honor to have a bulk effect on science? That was decided a long time ago. It was better not to have it that way, and what you see is what you've got from the honor page in the wiki.
Honor
However,
affecting science. That would be interesting.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and just because
Sounds like a
we're
big
seeing
buff for
we're
3
seeing
pages.
these two things here on Orc right now because they get that bonus as well as this penalty. Now, just looking at it because it was interesting. Only let's say plus 50% bonus from honor, that would give an Orc, as a knight, only an additional 0.5%. Now, if that orc was a prince or princess, their population increase would be like 1.18 increase instead of the 1.12. So I mean, it's nice to see that, but I mean, for orc to really
Look, if
benefit
you
from
can
that
get to
honor,
Prince as
it
an
would be
orc,
quite
then you
amazing.
deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, just gonna say,
I
if you
don't
can get
think
the prince as
if
an orc, you deserve it.
what I was trying to say is that you're wanting to balance that may not be needed due to the nature of the orc's role. So that bonus may seem like
Yeah.
it's really strong,
I think
but
my
don't know.
only concern when we get to personalities, you'll see why I have concerns about the if I win. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Is it done yet? Come on, win.
Oh, they're turning the lights off on me and stuff. This is crazy. The broadcast will never end. All right.
How long is the broadcast?
Oh man.
If you scroll down, we can keep
move.
going and give you a break for a second, Wind.
Yeah, let's move on to undead. We're almost at
Then
personalities
how
now.
long is the broadcast?
So it's a little bit longer, okay?
So tell me what
I
number.
don't know. What
All right, we'll pick up here
We'll
for
talk.
Wind.
We'll talk about undead. Yeah.
So undead really hasn't changed too much from the proposed. In fact, I'm looking at the proposed right now. The only change is the elite unit lost 1 offense. Just because it has so much extra build space with the casualties reduction built in and no food needed, it could just become too strong. So to counterbalance that a little bit, the gold coin cost was reduced by 400, and the net worth cost was reduced by a half point. So a little bit less offense than proposed, but yeah. I think undead is very strong right now as it is. It's
And you can train
Very
legs
good.
for the first time in ages.
Yeah.
So are they expensive as hell? Yes, but you can train them. And if they get injured, they can go to the hospitals by the looks of it. So undead skeletons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still
If
though.
you like sustainability, this is your attacker.
Again,
If you
talking
don't,
about those elite costs, I mean, this might be one of those costs that should be revised
What do you
because
say, Wind?
2,000 GC is pretty cheap for that 15 and 5.
Cost on elites before finals is done.
Yeah,
What are you
looks
talking
like...
about, Wind? Undead elite cost is fine. Stop talking about it.
No, we're gonna see too many undeads. Stop.
I'll just see 368 orcs, and we'll see 368 undead this next age.
Oh no. All right, let's just hope that Shepherd.
We will look at the elite costs.
Let's just hope that Shepherd doesn't look very good, and we should be good to go.
I don't think you have to worry about Shepherd.
All right, let's move down to the personalities. We're going to look at a bulk of them at a time here on the screen because, there's not as much data per page for each one as it is for the personality. So Artisan is a plus 35% building capacity and production. That's homes, banks, farms, stables, towers, and dungeons. Those things have actual number building capacities. Now, the minus 30% building damage taken from arson, greater arson, tornadoes, and raise attacks is also present. They've got a minus 25% build time, access to Tree of Gold, as well as plus 25% economy science book production. That's probably the most important one out of the gate. And then, of course, later in the age as well. Starts with 200 build credits, plus 600 soldiers, as well as plus 600 specialist credits. Do you want to do a few of them at once, or do you just want to go through?
I'll just Artisan we'll touch on just real quick. It's basically just got an extra 5% on the building capacity and production from this age. We think that's plenty strong. If you know what you're doing with it, it's very, very,
you don't
very
really
good.
do too much.
Yeah.
I always think Artisan is always underplayed in the server, no matter how powerful it's made. I think people really underestimate its economic benefits.
Well, I did just enjoy somebody sent me a message where their dwarf had 210% BE as a artisan. So.
Oh, you got that message as well, eh? Good.
Yeah.
All right, Paladin minus 20% military casualties is a typical Paladin. Minus 1% self spell mana cost, and can cast support spells on Kingdom members as your support caster. Of course, it has access to greater protection, Illuminate Shadows, Divine Shield, and Wrathful Smite. It's got the Economy Science Book production bonus, which is nice to have. One that I don't know if Paladin often sees that. I think Paladin switches between military and economic science book production usually. They get the plus 200 wizards, which is awesome off the start. I mean, you're getting that instant protection against mystics and heretics over everyone else who has 0 wizards to start. I mean, it's a huge buff. Not everyone always thinks about that. You guys want to say anything about Paladin?
Yeah, so
yeah.
It's very good. I mean, with the Illuminate Shadows and Divine Shield being off the support list, that's exclusive to Paladin. Whatever races may have those now. So it's a very good individual, and of course, as a support, you know, if you know what you're doing, that can very much benefit a kingdom.
It's just a solid support personality as always. The only thing to consider is that obviously with the changes that Schrodes has made with a lot of the support spells itself, it does kind of make the support personality stronger in a sense, indirectly. So you just have to be really choosy about how you place your supports as support persos. But I think that's a good thing, to be honest with you. If it's harder to make the choice, we've achieved what we wanted.
Absolutely. Now looking at Heretic, I mean, this looks like our standard Heretic, plus 75% Wizard production, minus 75% Thieves loss on Thievery operation, access to Fool's Gold, Guile, Vermin, Nightmares, plus 20% Crime and Channeling Science efficiency, and it starts with 400, plus 400 Wizards and plus 400 Thieves. That would be perfect for a Fairy, that's for sure.
Just your
Yeah.
hybrid personality, isn't it, Schrodes?
Exactly.
That's what
Yep.
I'm gonna go with. Your solid hybrid.
Yep. You want it to be attractive, you know, as both a thief and a mage, but not better than either a mystic or a rogue in their individual respects. So I think this is the proper balance right here. But we're always open to feedback.
Yeah, I mean, this Heretic would make a good personality for, either a Fairy or a Gnome or even a Halfling, I guess. But, Halfling may be better somewhere else.
Could be a heretic for a lot of races, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta be creative and
even a dwarf. Yeah, why not? Absolutely. All right. Looking at our
We'll definitely see some dwarf heretics next stage for sure.
the Mystic plus 100% guild effectiveness. We haven't seen that before. Plus 1 mana recovery per tick. Wow, that's always amazing to see. Lots of spells. We're gonna see lots of spells this age from the TMs, that's for sure. Access to meteor showers, pitfalls, and revelations. Plus 30% channeling science efficiency, and starts with 800 wizards. Wow, so that's gonna take out that heretic or give them a very good chance to cast those spells on that heretic even whenever they feel like. And rogue conversely is getting a similar bonus here. Since you don't have to pay for wizards, they're getting a minus 25% thief cost. The rogue, that is the rogue over the mystic. They have access to revelation, which everyone loves, and they also get a little bit more effectiveness, that crime science efficiency. However, starting with 0 wizards and 500 thieves makes them very cost effective to start, because you don't have to pay for those thieves. However, not having those wizards makes you very vulnerable to anyone with wizards. So definitely a very strong starting personality, facing an attacker-based kingdom, but facing a very large TM wall. This would be a very weak starting personality in comparison.
It's just the usual thing. Mystic is, I could even hear it in Wynn's voice with the enthusiasm as he read it out. But, is it exciting? No. Is it Mystic? Yes. Does it do what it needs to do? Yes. I think, maybe next age we might rethink Mystic a bit more, maybe. Try and put some more exciting stuff into it. Schrodes did have some ideas that we wanted to put in from a spell perspective. But we just couldn't make it in, I don't think, in the end. Could we, Schrodes, this round because of coding?
No, David's going to be coding them into Genesis, I think, at some point, and working on the balance there. And hopefully they'll make it over at some point. We had two new spells that we wanted to introduce that I think would make things pretty interesting.
Definitely.
Really, the big thing for Mystic and Rogue is Revelation. They didn't have that this age. Adding that next stage gives them a nice little kick to do more.
Then you got Rogue, usual standard stuff. Nothing to see here, type of thing. But like we said, Halfling, Gnome, Rogue has been probably a little bit difficult for us to kind of get right. We've got to be careful about how we tilt one end of thievery to magic. Like we said, anyone that's watching this, please do give us feedback in the age discussion stuff. It is really helpful. Just tag us so that we can see it. But again, I think they're both in a good place, though.
You need to remember that the middle and the end of the age is significantly longer than the beginning of the age, so a lot of emphasis needs to be put on the middle and end portion of the ages as to where these personalities and race combinations are going to end up, so that we can ensure
100%. You know yourself, Wind. Like certain things, mystics and rogues, how they can go to the end of the age. But heretic the same. Like if you manage it right,
Absolutely, and I think that's why it's important in this age. Again, we're seeing super buffed, very defined personalities here, which reinforces everybody's role, but also gives them lots of options as well. So I like, we're hopefully going to see a lot less, or everyone should see a lot less fails, despite how poor their planning is, or how many guilds or thieves dens they have. I mean, they're going to have very good chances of success here, because I've seen a lot of people complaining about the RNG. So I mean, this is a great way to offset that complaint for sure. I think you'll be successful this age, for what I'm seeing so far. Let's move on to this Raider personality. +1 horse strength, immune to steel war horses. Each acre holds 8 war horses and generates 0.2 horses per tick. Elite gains +1 minus strength, plus 25% military science book production, and starts with 800 soldiers, 800 specialist training credits.
Well, this is Schrodes' little pony, so I'll let him talk about it.
Yeah, so we got rid of Shepherd. Wanted to introduce something new. I know the Raider's been used before, and a lot of these concepts have been seen before. I've actually gone back about 15 ages and changes and looked at all the different changes to come up with this. So it pulls together a lot of different things. It's very offensive in nature. It's very unique compared to what we normally see. I think it's a lot of fun. Hopefully it's on the same strength as Warrior is, and you'll see the little 4 there. So that's equivalent to 10% stables, and questions about the immune to steel war horses. It'll be the operation cannot be performed against them, instead of the operation can be done but gets 0 horses So just to mitigate those questions before they even come up.
I mean, this person is really good. I like from the perspective of if somebody's it sounds really silly, but when like if somebody's running late to get back to their army, and doesn't want to risk their horses getting stolen, this is a really solid personality from that perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, someone who's not going to be exactly on time. But even still, I mean, a lot of factors can play into the ability to march your army, the coordination of the leadership team in order to provide orders to march at exactly when, compared to when the enemy exactly has timed your return and they're already stealing your horses before you can even confirm that you're going to march on a certain target. So, I mean, that's definitely nice to have. It just means I'll have to look at other avenues.
Perspective.
Definitely, and definitely from an attacker's point of view as well, for anyone that's actually going to play Raider, because this can be a very powerful combination for like Dryad, or even Human.
Human. I see human Raider. I think will be a popular pick.
Yeah,
Don't sit him too long though, because you can still get propped, guys.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's kind of some stuff we've seen from Raider before in the past, although they've never been so bold as to give them +1 horse strength. So that's amazing. Sage looks very typical. Plus 10% science efficiency, minus 40%
loss. As long as we don't see 368 Raiders, Schrodes, we're fine.
Human Raiders for sure. Plus 25% book generation, immune to the plague. That's going to make them very good choice for people who just want to run growth kingdoms. I think access to revelation and mystic aura, for sure. Plus 400 soldiers and specialist training credits, as well as 4,000 science books in each category. Nice. Typical buffed up Sage. And essentially, like
Sage is kind of my baby, as you know, Wind.
Yeah.
And with Sage, we've tried to. I was just gonna say we've tried to. Yourself, Win. Like you have to be careful with Psy, and so we've tried to make Sage really attractive as a personality, but not overpowered. From a science perspective, I think in terms of the plague side of things, because I'm expecting we'll probably see a lot of undead, as Schrodes and I were just saying earlier. It kind of, you won't just default and go, oh, I need to go Raider or I need to do this. Like, Sage will become, a bit more of a choice when people are thinking from a core perspective.
I think that gives it a little more utility early age when you don't have the books to really make it effective, like it can be late age too. Gives it that little extra protection.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's got that unwritten protection of most attackers who are well versed in out of war learns are going to avoid the Sage. That's for sure. Next up, we have the Tactician, +1 general, accurate espionage, clear sight, quick feet, as well as a plus 25% military science book production. Starts with 800 soldiers and 800 specialist training credits. That's your typical Tactician, although we're not seeing a speed increase on the Tactician. Instead, they're getting a +1 general, which is an interesting change.
I don't know. Schrodes and I have spoken about Tact a bit. We did obviously. Will we add more? I don't know, Schrodes. Will we? I don't know.
I don't know. I think they're very good as it is.
With clear
if
sight,
they do get a buff,
feet,
it would be pretty small.
Yeah, I don't think they need any more buffs.
Like they've got QF and clear sight and accurate espionage, which is really good. Like it's such a good thing as a core. And the general, I don't know. I don't think we will change much on it, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah, the forts and racks bonus, that was really interesting. Unfortunately, we felt like it could be a little too exploitable, so we had to ditch it. But not everything fun can make it We also have to work on the balance.
It was interesting to see that thing come through from Genesis and show up in World of Legends for a little while, but I mean, it'll always have its place in Genesis, so
I didn't
people
even know it was in Genesis.
don't worry about that.
I think we
I-
will. I think we might see it return next age because conceptually what Schrodes has come up with was good. I think we just need a bit more time to think about how we apply it, because we do want more of those type of different things. I think Schrodes, would you agree?
Absolutely.
For sure, and you know, I think that's something that's just going to have to be balanced into the game. Maybe not with so much of a high percentage of effect, but it can still be part of the regular lineup, so as to include more bonuses to each race or personality. Now on the list here we have War Hero gets a plus 50% bonus from Honor. Now that combined with Orc could be a very powerful
There we go. Trade on it
Yeah.
like a magnet.
Yeah.
The minus 30% honor loss is also very enticing. The ME efficiency, I mean, that's just a gimme. That's just a real tease. I mean, but you had that with Bloodlust. We're talking something there. Reflect Magic, it's always nice to see, but you know, sometimes RNGs always mess you up on that. I think although our Reflect Magic may not be so good this age, simply because actually, you know what, it should be more effective this age because everyone's going to pass their spells. So yeah, like I said, this would be a good one.
It's interesting for us
attacker.
because War Hero is probably one of the only personalities, I think, Schrodes, wouldn't we say, that we considered doing a bit more tweaking, like what I would consider substantial tweaking to
Oh, no.
to fire. Oh,
Yeah. Well,
only because of Orc now. I don't know why I'm
Yeah.
thinking that we need to.
as a general rule, we don't like having the same bonuses on a race and a personality because of stacking, the
Yeah.
way it stacks. So that's something that we're still looking at there. And one note on that military efficiency, because of the way the game calculates that, that's actually going to be a lot more than 5% when it comes to OME or DME. A lot of people don't realize that. They just think it's like an extra greater protection spell or fanaticism. That's not the case. It's going to be more than 5% on both of
Yeah.
those. So it's a lot stronger than it looks. That's why it's a lower number than you'll see on Warrior. And having Mind Focus here at least gives you the option if you want to try doing kind of a hybrid with it. So it opens up some more play styles. I think it's neat. How effective it'll be remains to be seen. But if you're creative and want to try something, yeah, at least it's out there for you.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what all this age is all about, and I hope to see more combinations of people trying different things and kingdoms doing different things. I think, you know, for sure we're going to see a little bit of that. It's going to be hard for everyone to lean in one way or the other.
I feel like my gut is saying, and Schrodes will correct me if I'm wrong here. If we were to tweak anything, from a removal or change perspective, we'd probably look at the Orc honor over the War Hero honor, because the War Hero really is the honor personality. But I don't know, Schrodes, what do you think?
No promises.
Yeah.
I think we have discussions to have there. I don't know. I'm up in the air on which way we'll go.
Yeah, so again, they have Reflect Magic Mind Focus. They get plus 25% military science book production, as well as they starting with 800 elites, giving them a lot more offense and defense than everybody else. So the Warrior plus 12% OME, a little bit higher than Warrior gets, is usually at 10%, I believe, sometimes 15% and it's most powerful. In addition to normal effects, training grounds provide the effects of armories.
It's 15% this age.
And cannot build armories. So instead of having armories, you just build training grounds and you get the effects of armories as well. Plus 25% valor science efficiency, as well as 25% military science book production.
Correct.
And plus 800 soldiers with plus 800 specialist training credits. So something to train with right away. This is an interesting personality. I mean, definitely a nice one to have in your lineup, whether people will flock to it for the building effect that you'll retain from not having to build the armors.
Well, it's just basically off stacking. Get huge amounts of offense. just basically win, get huge amounts of offense and piss on dragons. You know, so
Yeah.
like, you know, but you know, we had moved. We had removed the training grounds and then put it back in because I just think it's a nice different flavor, and it's also, you know, trying to keep up conceptually some of the stuff that Schrodes originally did, because I don't think this one's gonna, I might eat my own words later, Schrodes next age will say, gonna break anything. But it is a really good personality in my opinion. Like, being able to just run your TGs, you know, and you know how it is, you know, we're not being able to have to switch it in End of War CF.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, from a cost perspective,
Absolutely.
you know, that's a really nice quality of life personality bonus right there.
Yep. I was gonna mention
So
that, but you already took care of it. And
Yeah.
even, you know, if you're waving
Absolutely.
and you get a forced ceasefire, then it makes it a little easier to retrain troops instead of having to
yeah,
switch out or just not have them at all.
I think
So I think there's a lot more utility to that effect than at first glance.
and training too, and war. Like,
no,
that's gonna
absolutely.
be interesting.
As an attacker, that's going to be essential. I mean, as a warrior, you're going to have training grounds. Now, having armories on top of that, that decreases draft costs as well as reduction of wages and decrease of training costs. It's everything that an attacker wants. I think the only risk here is that we may see a lot of attackers flocking to warrior because of this. Is a very powerful thing to have here. Not to mention the dragon killing ability. And I mean, you're already getting military science book production on top.
Yeah, I
of
think all the
valid
personalities are
efficiency.
pretty strong. So
Yeah, so hopefully, you know, that draws people in different
I
directions.
think the more like, you know, as we've gone through, but I think, you know, as we've gone through the personalities with you, and like Schrodes, you tell me what you think. But I'm looking at them going, yep, strong, strong competes with this, strong, strong. Not going like, oh, that's shit, that's not gonna cut it. You know, I don't think we're in that place with most of the personalities. So I think we probably only need to tweak, but it's probably more race. I think Schrodes, don't you think? And
yep.
the costs that we probably need to look at. I think persos are pretty close to done.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Well, I think if we make it tough for people to decide, then we're doing well.
Awesome. Well, that's great stuff you guys have here, and I look forward to next stage. It should be a great time. So thanks so much, guys, for putting this together, and I think everyone can't wait to see those final changes. And as I promise everyone, I'll make sure that there's a link to this document that we went through posted at the end of the show here in the news channel, as well as the Utopia talk, so everyone can check that out until the official link is posted on the announcements and in the forums of utopiagame.com. So thank you so much for everyone for joining, our regulars as usual. I see you guys in the audience. Thank you so much. And Benji and Schrodes, thank you so much for sharing this with me and joining for this cast.
Thanks for hosting.
You know, that's what this community needs, is more initiatives like this. So let's make sure that we keep this going in the future. And again, for everyone out there, there is lots of stuff coming. Keep an eye on those Muga announcements. Lots of great stuff for Genesis as well as World of Legends and just Muga as a whole overall coming in the future. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, everyone, and have a great one.
Thanks, Wind.
Thank you, everyone, so much for joining me. This has been a special feature from Wind Utopia News under the Muga News banner. Our discussion of revised changes for H99 with Benji, as well as Schrodes. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great night.